Oh, hold on, just Mike. You got any Tums with you, Mike? There you go. I appreciate that. Thank you. I have a feeling this is going to be a long day today. Jeez, I never saw that one coming. That's a good question. I would say that what happened. Number one, my daughter has not asked me about it. Not to saying that she won't, but she has not asked me about it at this point. Certainly something not very proud of. The way things went down. It's not the way you should do things. It's not. It's not the way you want things to go. So I would encourage people to if they have a choice to between doing something or not, I'd say it probably not would be a good answer to do it. But sometimes in life, comes a time when you got to stand your ground, and then sometimes you have to do what at the time is not right, and you look back, you may could have done things differently, but in the end, sometimes you have to stand up and do what's right by you, and so it's a slippery slope because it's a especially if you're talking to a kid or a child, you're trying to project the right way to do things. You have to also explain that that's not the way you want things to be done, but sometimes you're backed into a corner. You don't have a choice. We haven't talked, but we don't. Colin and I don't talk. We didn't talk before, and we probably won't talk after. Nothing against Kyle. We just don't. So it's. I wouldn't think that would change at any time. But ideally, it's not when Toyota is trying to win a championship. It's not ideally the way you would want things to go with two Toyotas making contact on the racetrack at the same time. But and I hate it for the organizations. I hate it for Joe Gibbs Racing, JD, and all those guys over there. All the guys on the 18 team. They go through a lot of work to build good race cars, and so do my guys. So you hate to see things come down to that when it's actually two individuals as opposed to two teams. I just like to set a few things straight. Number one, the only thing that I had a problem with at Bristol, which was just some of the stuff that was said after the race. As far as on the racetrack, there was no problem at all. We got together a little bit, but that's racing at Bristol. There's no problems at all there. So that didn't have anything to do with it. And some of the stuff he said was, in the end, is really not a big deal. It aggravates you a little bit at the time, but you move on. Maybe if you guys are talking about something that maybe Rodney said on the radio during the course of the race, he didn't tell me to go do anything. I'm driving the car. I'm responsible for what happens to the car. I don't care who you are. I'm going to do what I'm going to do inside the race car, no matter who's telling me what. That's it. I'm responsible for that. So with that being said, I felt like I wasn't out there riding around I was trying to get the best finish I possibly could for our day, and things just ended up happening, and in the end ended up being unfortunate for everybody involved. I just know this. All right, you don't go out there and run over the 14 car because you know what's going to happen as a driver. If you go out there and run over Tony Stewart, he's not going to let that slide. You go out there and you run over the 42 car, Juan Pablo Montoya, he's not going to let it slide. How often do you see those guys getting run over? Never. Not ever. And that's all I'm trying to say. You don't want – it's all about respect. I respect every one of those guys out there, whether you're leading and a champion, or if you're the guy that's just trying to get by and running 43rd. It doesn't matter. I respect all those guys equally. And you just have to earn that, and you also have to give it. And sometimes you give it a lot more than you get it, and sometimes you just have to do things to make people see that what was once deemed acceptable is no longer acceptable. If you're out on the racetrack and you're racing, you see a lot of things that not everybody sees. You may see a guy go down in the corner and root one guy up off the bottom, and the next corner come back and kind of, the guy will do the same thing to him, and sometimes it just gets completely overlooked, or people just don't see it because there's so many other things going on in the racetrack at the given time. So there's been somewhat of a self-policing kind of thing going on all the time, although, this season I think it's got a lot of attention. Because obviously, they have said they're going to give us a little more leeway. So I think automatically everybody assumes we're just going to go out there and start running over each other because we know there's no repercussions. So that's not the case because there's a lot of respect out there with a lot of different drivers and a lot of different teams. But sometimes things happen, and again, it's unfortunate that it happens. I don't like it. There's not anything I like about it. I didn't get that luxury. I had a good race car. I had a dang good race car, and I didn't get an opportunity to have a choice when I wanted to get wrecked or how I wanted to get wrecked. And if you want to talk about the danger aspects of it, how about the fact that I get turned in the fence and turn sideways back to the fence and then come back down across the racetrack in front of basically the entire field. So sometimes, I wasn't given a choice, and nobody else gets that choice either when it comes down to that. If you go down there and get into a car and wreck the guy, if you send your spotter down to the guy you just wrecked spotter and say, hey, I screwed up, I messed up, it was my fault, I'm sorry about that, I didn't mean for it to happen. You know what? It's not going to fix the guy's tore up race car. It's not going to change anything. But at least the guy that just got wrecked knows what happened, knows it wasn't intentional. When you do something like that and you don't say a word, and give an ample opportunity to do so, it changes things a little bit, just a little bit. Doesn't mean you can go down and run over a guy and just tell him you're sorry. It doesn't ever make it okay. But at least the guy you've run over knows that it wasn't an intentional situation. One of the things that sticks in my head, I watched my dad win a lot of races in a lot of different venues, a lot of different places all over the United States and Canada. I think some of the things that stuck out in my mind, I still see it as clear today as I did the day I saw it, and I was very young, which was my dad racing extremely hard with a couple other drivers at Orange County Fair Speedway in Middletown, New York. And my dad was one of the guys, if not the guy, to beat a lot of nights up there. He was racing hard with another guy. I can't remember. It might have been Will Cagle. It could have been Frankie Schneider. Could have been Gerald Chamberlain. Any of those big guys up there that he raced hard against. And my dad got down in the corner. This was a race for the lead. And mind you, my dad had no sponsorship. He's racing for a living, and he's racing to support a family. His only source of income was what the race car brought in. He got down in the corner, slid up into the guy, knocked him up the racetrack, and got by him. Going down the back straightaway, he slowed down, put his arm out the window, let the guy that he just passed go back by him, and he finished second that night because he refused to pass a guy running over him. And I've tried to do that in most cases in my life. Now, this last week or so may not be a byproduct of that, but what my dad always taught me was to be respectful of others and race guys the way you would want to be raced. But my dad has also, on occasion, put a guy or two firewall deep because they wouldn't leave him alone. So there's a balancing act there, So those are two things I've seen for myself and I've never forgotten.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.